Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to another lesson. In this lesson, we're going to learn about IELTS Writing Task 1. We're going to learn how to write a letter of acceptance. This particular lesson is meant for the general training students. If you're going to be sitting for IELTS as an academic student, then have a look at the description box and the comment section. You will find a link to all my videos on IELTS Writing Task 1 for the academic students. So this particular lesson is meant for the general training students, because if you are a general training student, your task 1 is going to always be a letter. In your task 1, you will be asked to write a letter. Now, let me begin the lesson by giving you some very important information about task 1 for the general training students. You get 1 hour, that is 60 minutes, to write your task 1 and your task 2. You should spend 20 minutes to write your task 1 and 40 minutes to write your task 2. Always leave about 2 to 3 minutes at the end of your task 1 to correct any mistakes that you made in grammar or spellings. The second thing that is important to remember is that you are supposed to write 150 words. You can write more than 150 words, but if you write less than 150 words, your band score is going to be lower. So always aim to write more than 150 words. But remember, you've only got 20 minutes to write your task 1. So if you write more than, for example, 160 or 180 words, you don't have enough time to write your task 2. So to make sure that you don't run out of time, always spend 20 minutes writing your task 1 and 40 minutes writing your task 2. The next thing that is extremely important to remember when it comes to your task 1 is that IELTS is always going to give you 3 points that you're supposed to include in the letter. You get 3 points that you're supposed to include details about in the letter. So you need to structure your letter based on those 3 points that IELTS has already given you. Now, the first thing that you need to do when you begin writing your letter is to read the question. Read the question really carefully, make sure you understand the question, and identify the 3 points that IELTS wants you to include in the letter. Let's read this question together. A friend has offered you some work in his company. A friend, underline the word friend, has offered you some work. Underline the word work. In his company. Underline the word his, because that means your friend is a man. It's not in her company, but in his company. You are currently employed, so right now you have a job and you're not able to start for 3 months. Write a reply to your friend. Very important part of the question. Write a reply to a friend. So this letter, you're writing it to a friend. In your letter, A, Give details about what you know about his company. So in the first point, IELTS wants you to include information in your letter where you give your friend details about what you know about his company. What do you know about his company? Write some details about that. The second point, B, explain your current situation. Explain to your friend whether you have a job, whether you are jobless. What is your current work situation? C, give your answer to the offer and explain why. Now that third point has 2 points. Give your answer to the offer, and then the second part is explain why. So give your answer to the offer. Do you accept the job? Do you not accept the job? And why? Now, once you have understood the question, you have understood the 3 points that IELTS wants you to include details about in your letter, you begin writing the letter. We are going to do that in 8 steps. Step 1 is what we call the salutation. In the salutation, that is the opening of the letter, this is a formal letter. This is a semi-formal letter. You are writing the letter to your friend, but the content of the letter is business-like. And that is what makes it semi-formal. So this is not a friendly letter. It is not a friendly letter. It is a semi-formal letter, which means part of it is friendly because you're writing to your friend, but part of it is business-like because you're writing about accepting a job. Once you have written, Dear Peter, now remember, if you're writing this letter as a friendly letter to Peter, okay, you would start by saying, Hi Peter or Hello Peter, but this is a semi-formal letter. So you know the name of your friend. It is a man, according to the question. Some work in his company. So begin with Dear Peter. And then put a comma. That is step 1. Step 2. Introduce your letter. Introduce your letter. You have been told, write a reply to your friend who has offered you a job in his company. So, in the introduction, you're going to talk about that. Thank you so much for offering me a position to your work in your company as a project manager. Thank you so much for offering me a position to work in your company as a project manager. So you begin by thanking Peter for offering you a job, a position, that is a title to work in your company. And your job title, the title of the job that he has offered you is a project manager. So you begin by thanking him. Thank you so much for offering me a position to work in your company as a project manager. After step 2, we move on to step 3. In step 3, we are going to make sure that we include details about the first point that IELTS has given us, and that is point A. Give details about what you know about his company. Explain to your friend, what do you know about his company? Now, you can write, you run an amazing business that is geared towards helping ex-convicts find jobs once they have completed their jail sentences, which I find quite helpful as a form of rehabilitation. Your company has also established an educational center where these former inmates can complete a course in order to give them the skills they require to help them find employment opportunities easily. So in that paragraph, I have told Peter what I know about his company. The first thing that I know about his company is that it is geared towards. Geared towards means it is focused towards helping ex-convicts. Now, an ex-convict is somebody who has been in jail. They have served their jail sentence and they have been released from prison. So they are an ex-convict. So what I know about Peter's company is that it is focused on helping people who have been to prison to find jobs once they have completed their jail sentences, which I find quite helpful as a form of rehabilitation. Rehabilitation means that they are being integrated back into the society. Because when somebody has been in prison, they can't function very well once they get out of prison. So they find it very difficult to find a job, for example. And through rehabilitation, they are given the skills that they require to be able to function again in society. So that is one of the things that I know about Peter's company, that it is focused on helping people who have been in prison, that is ex-convicts, to find jobs. The second thing that I know about Peter's company is that your company has also established an educational center. So I know that Peter's company has set up an educational center where these former inmates is a synonym for a convict. If you're an inmate, it means that you're a convict. It means that you are in jail. But the word former means ex. It means you were, but now you are not a convict anymore. You are a former inmate. So Peter's company has an educational center where they help these former inmates by giving them the skills that they require to be able to get a job easily, by helping them to complete a course. So in that paragraph, that is in step 3, I have given details about the first point. Give details about what you know about his company. After that, I move on to the second point. Explain your current situation. I'm going to do that in step 4 of the letter. I'm currently working for a local charity as a resource manager, and my employment contract will be expiring in exactly 3 months from now. I'm actually just about to complete a youth project which I set up with a few colleagues to get homeless teenagers off the streets and find them foster parents who can give them a safe home. So in that paragraph, I have explained my current situation in details. I have explained to Peter what I'm doing right now. I'm currently working for a local charity as a resource manager. I've also told Peter about my employment contract. I have told Peter that my employment contract will be expiring in exactly 3 months from now. So 3 months from now is when my contract will be expiring. I've also told Peter about a project that I'm doing right now at my current job. I'm just about to complete a youth project which I set up with a few colleagues. Your colleagues are the people that you work with, to get homeless teenagers. If you're homeless, it means that you have nowhere to stay. You have no home. You live on the streets. Teenagers are young people, that is the youth. So I set up a youth project to help homeless teenagers to get off the streets and find them foster parents. Now, a foster parent is a parent who is not biologically he is not your mother or your father, but he or she or they act as your parents to give them a safe home. So in that paragraph, I have really explained my current situation in details. I have told Peter what I'm doing right now, where I am working, what I do at work, when will be my contract ending, when will my contract end. And I've also told Peter about what sort of things I'm involved with at work. Okay, now after that, I move on to the third point that IELTS wants me to include details about in the letter. And that is point C. Give your answer to the offer. So in that part of the point, I need to tell Peter whether I accept his job offer or not. And then the second part, I need to explain why. Now, according to IELTS question, you are currently employed and because of that, you're not able to start the job for 3 months. So because of that, you can't say, yes, I'm going to begin the job immediately because you're currently employed. Because of that then, in step 5, I write, as such, whereas I do accept your job offer wholeheartedly, unfortunately, I won't be able to start working until July, which is in 3 months' time. Hopefully, this won't cause you any inconvenience. So in the previous paragraph, I explained that my employment contract will be expiring in exactly 3 months from now. So because of that, that's why I began that the fifth paragraph with as such. As such means because of the reasons I have explained in the previous paragraph, as such. Okay, it really is a band 9 term. If you use that, the examiner is going to get a very good impression about your command of the English language. As such. As such means because of the reasons that I have just explained. So as such, whereas I do accept your job offer, give your answer to the offer. I do accept your job offer wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly means with all my heart. Because IELTS point C says, give your answer to the offer. My answer is, I do accept your job offer wholeheartedly. Okay? But, unfortunately, I won't be able to start working for Peter until July, which is in 3 months' time. And that is because my employment contract will be expiring in 3 months' time from now. And then I said, hopefully this won't cause you any inconvenience. The fact that I would like to begin the job in 3 months. That is, I hope that won't cause Peter any inconvenience. Inconvenience means any sort of difficulties of any type. So in step 5, I have addressed the third point that IELTS wants me to include details about in the letter. And now I can tick or cross A, cross point B, cross point C, because I have already included information about that in my letter. Once you have done that, you move on to step 6. Step 6 is the conclusion. You conclude the letter. Once again, thank you for your kind offer. Remember, Peter has offered you a job, and for now you have to say no because you can't begin the job until after 3 months. So that's why I'm repeating my gratitude. Once again, thank you for your kind offer. And then after that, so step 6 is the conclusion of the letter. It is usually just one sentence. I move on to step 7. In step 7, I am going to sign off the letter. And remember, this is a semi-formal letter, semi-friendly letter. So I'm going to make sure that I sign off in a way that reflects that. Yours sincerely. Yours sincerely. You can also end that letter by writing best regards or kind regards or with kind regards. Yours sincerely, comma, David. Now, remember, you're writing this letter to a friend, okay? He is your friend. Peter is your friend. So you don't need to write your surname. You don't need to write your surname. Your first name is enough. You're writing the same way you did not write Dear Peter Jenkins, for example, because you're writing to your friend. So you address your friend with his first name, Dear Peter. So you end with your first name as well. Yours sincerely, step 8, David. Okay? So that's how you're supposed to write this letter. Just to give you some tips on what makes this a semi-formal letter. First, you're writing the letter to somebody you know. This person is your friend. So that part of it makes the letter friendly. However, the content of the letter is business-like. It is formal because you're accepting a job offer. That makes it semi-formal. And because you're writing this letter to a friend, you are allowed to use contracted forms of words. See, the examiner will be looking for these little things. We call them conventions. The conventions of a semi-formal letter. Contracted forms of words. For example, in step 4, you notice that I wrote I apostrophe am. I'm currently, instead of writing I am currently. If this was a formal letter, I would write I am currently. But because this is a semi-formal letter to a friend, I am using am currently, okay? I apostrophe am. And you notice I also use that contracted form of the word am. I'm actually just about to complete. I also said I won't be able instead of saying I will not be. So we use contracted forms of words in semi-formal letters, but also in informal letters. Informal letters are friendly letters. So take note of that. And of course, how you begin the letter and how you end the letter should reflect that you know that this is a semi-formal letter. The other tip that I'm going to give you is, in this letter, I'm aiming for a band 9. For me to get a band 9, I need to use the correct vocabulary, but I also need to use a lot of compound and complex sentences. Remember, a compound sentence has one linking word. A complex sentence, on the other hand, has two or more linking words. You'll notice that my sentences are very long because I'm aiming for a band 9. So if you're aiming for a band 9 or band 8, then you need to use a lot of complex and compound sentences in your letter. Now, I hope you found this lesson helpful. If you have learned something from this lesson, please give the video a thumbs up. Share the video with somebody else. Help somebody else the way I have helped you. And also don't forget to subscribe to this channel because I will be uploading a lot of videos on IELTS Writing Task 1 in the future. And while you're there, have a look at the links in the description box. Have a look at my pinned comment right at the top, and you will see a lot of links to other videos that are going to help you to score a high band in your IELTS. I have a whole playlist of videos on IELTS speaking part 1, part 2, and part 3, and also videos on IELTS reading, videos on IELTS writing, and videos on IELTS listening. And if you're interested in grammar or how to speak English in different situations, I also have videos to help you with that. Now, thank you very much, everyone, and I shall see you in our next lesson. Bye-bye.